Was a woman who experienced life. She lived a normal life of her time frame, which is very hard for some of us to kind of put our fingers around or our heads around. 2,000 years ago, life was very different. Thank goodness we're not there. She was a woman of prayer. She was a woman of great belief. She was a woman of service. She was a woman who cared. And we have slight testimonies of that as you go through the scriptures. Luke gives us the most. So if you're ever looking to find out more about Mary, just go back to Luke. You don't have Mary very much in John at all. She doesn't even have a name in John's gospel. It's just called his mother. But Luke was very much writing to the early Christian community in Rome, and the dignity of women was well respected, or at least more respected there. So he he gives us those infancy narratives of Mary, of the infancy of Elizabeth, and John the Baptist. So we know a little bit more about Mary because of Luke's gospel. And we're finishing Luke's gospel in 2 more Sundays. It's the end of cycle C. So we'll move on to other readings as we move into the next year. I said, what do you do that's inspirational? What kind of things kind of meld in my head? I find caring for others is sometimes really very difficult. It's very challenging, but it's very necessary. We've experienced a friend, somebody we know who's having great difficulty. You deal with sickness, you deal with unexpected travesty in your life, making life look questionable. Are we going to survive? That's a very serious time of life, and a very one that one needs to know others care. Even if we don't know who it is, we have to give that experience and that feeling of caring out there. You're not going to be quoted anywhere. You're not going to find yourself in a new Bible. Nothing like that. Mary experienced concern for her cousin, her friend, Elizabeth. And we have friends that each one of us could probably name, or someone we know, a neighbor, a friend, an acquaintance that has difficulties. We look around and sort of say, "Oh, you look pretty good." Say, yeah, we're healthy. Someone that doesn't have their health and has health problems becomes a great difficulty to the family and to the caregivers. And our awareness of that can inspire us to look around ourselves and see where we are. We know that there are people in our faith community here at Nativity that are experiencing difficulty. We may not know their names, we may not have friends with them, but look at the number of people who walk through that church every Sunday, and some of them have problems, big ones, little ones. But we need to be aware of that. The friend that I talk about has experienced serious illness, life-threatening illness, so it kind of makes me cringe a bit. And I'm thankful I'm not in those shoes now, but I was in those shoes. My husband died in 2009, and he was sick for quite some time. And you walk and you walk that care, and you walk that, but I couldn't do it alone. I knew my faith community prayed with me and for me. I knew that my friends were there to be helpful. They were there to lift spirits, to be consoling if that was necessary. And have to recognize that when you walk in those shoes, you have fear, you have disappointment, you have an unknown, sometimes anger. Why did this happen? Why did it happen to our family? Why me? Why my family? How can I get through this? A time is most of the time to be thankful for our faith. If we didn't have our faith as the rock of our attitude of life, we'd be in a lot of trouble. But we also know that sometimes these people are lonely, they need care and support from our neighbors, our friends, fellow parishioners. That's really where it is. But where does our faith fit into this? Where does being Catholic fit into this? That's what we are, we're Catholics. And does our faith come from that? Do we see that? Do we see that gift of faith of being a Catholic woman as a gift of faith? And do we celebrate that every Sunday at Mass, that gift that you have? And we're nourished by believers. So we share times that when our faith has been kind of shaken. Sometimes we've been disappointed. Sometimes we've been in confusion. Sometimes there really are times that we have to reassess where we are. And I think that This community of women gathered here today is a resource of great faith, is a resource of a lot of caring. And Kathy says, I want you to give us something inspirational. So I'm going to ask you ladies to talk one-on-one to each other and do something inspirational. How has your faith, how has your awareness of this community, how has your love of God and your love of family made a difference to you in dealing with any kind of difficult times? Whether it's little things, big things, bad things, horrible things, losses. Just think about it for a few minutes and kind of share a little bit, because we can help each other. If I know you're hurting and I'm hurting and we're together, we'll pray for each other. I'm here for you. Do you ever have someone say that to you? I'm here for you? That's what we need to be. We need to be here for you. So just chit-chat a little bit. Share a time when your faith has been helped or increased or enriched by someone else in the faith community, or a neighbor or a friend. Not a sad time, a time that you've gotten over the hump and somebody has helped you along the way. So share faith in a positive way. I was sick and so came and did this, or my husband lost his job, but we didn't know how we were going to make it. This is how we did it. And this is how somebody else helped us do it. A person. Jesus did not come down and knock on your door and say, I have a job for you. But he did come down and knock on your door and say, you can help someone. So just take a few minutes, find somebody near you and give them a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of kind of that faith. Share a little bit of it.
You want to start?